Good afternoon, guys. Luke and Dummy by the name. I'm your street journalist for today, and we're going to be talking about sex texting. Put together, it's called sexting.
Basically, it's sending sexual images.
Trying as hard as possible to have sex over the phone.
Sexting is crazy, man. I be getting kiddies up in the DM. It's not really funny, man.
I think it's not just about sending pictures and videos. It could be a small thing such as sending a message, a sexual message. Yeah, like I want you or things like that.
Do you think it's wise for people to actually have this sexting going on?
Hell no.
Okay.
Sexting is, I don't want to say wrong, because I understand why other people do it. Because people sex because it spices up relationships.
It's a very disturbing issue, as we have seen recently with Melusi Gigaba.
From the media was that it was about the hacking. You know what I mean? He was hacked, basically. You know what I mean? So that was a private situation that somebody felt the need to make public.
Well, I guess he could be a victim, but then what was he doing with his phone there in the first place?
What he does in his personal time, in his private time, is up to him.
He is a leader. He comes from a place of power and influence. And if he, as a person that should be setting out a good example to us youngins, he's out here doing things that our parents are telling us not to do, then how can we really say that he's in a place of leadership?
So how he chooses to live his life in his bedroom is up to him.
She sends me a picture, right? She sends me a picture. And then I post that picture. Am I in the wrong? Because she's the one who sent me, though.
You posted the picture without her consent. And it's an invasion of privacy, and dude, like, come on, why would you post a picture of someone that you didn't ask about first?
Was she sending it to you for you to post it publicly, or was it just for the both of you to see?
That's right.
It was for the both of us, I guess.
Then what is it doing on Facebook where everybody can now, in a way, legally view and save that picture?
And on that note, we want to say hello, Dumelang Sanbanani, South Africa. Welcome to Expressions, your #1 current affairs show here on SABC. This is definitely the place for you to air your views. I'm your host, Jacqueline Mapala.
I'm your host, Umxolisi Wagomasango. Sizake nebukhoma from our studios in Auckland Park, Johannesburg. Jackie, we are talking about sexting. Now, that is sending nude pictures or sex videos, which has now become a new normality, kakhulukazi amongst ulusha. Now, what starts off as a fun exercise just to spice things up often comes back with a bite. Now, tonight's poll question: are young people aware of the dangers of sexting?
I mean, that's a very important question because recently South Africans were exposed to the former Minister of Home Affairs Malusi Gigaba's sex video, which was leaked online. Now, Malusi Gigaba resigned today following mounting pressures for him to resign. Now, social media law experts have been issuing warnings, especially to the youth, to be aware of the legal consequences of sharing such videos, Mko.
Again, more recently, a high school pupil thought that making a video about her love for sex would be just harmless fun. Now, the video has since gone viral and the Department of Education is investigating. Now, to protect the girl's identity, we have distorted her voice in the video. Do take a look at this.
I cannot help but be a little bit shocked, but I'm not going to have this discussion by myself. I'm joined by my guest in studio. I'm joined firstly by Adam Oxford, who is a technology and media consultant. I'm also joined by Jane Mashudu, who is the author of Sexual Addiction. Lady and gentlemen, welcome to Expressions. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And of course, I never do this by myself. My co-host Mxolisi is on the social media part of our studio, bringing some of your perspectives and insight on this also important conversation that we're having in studios. And I'm definitely looking forward to hearing some of your comments on Facebook. But guys, let's get straight into it. I think, Jay, let me start with you. I mean, we saw that young girl who posted that video. My blood is still curdling a little bit because it was quite explicit, right, in its nature. And I want to find out from you, I mean, do you think that we are a sexually depraved country? Do you think that young people are just sexually addicted?
First of all, looking at that video, wow, I can say she's real. She's real, and her being real, and the government is taking it to heart and seriously, and also investigating the case. It's really, 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 really very important. And what she says, exposing herself, I think it came, when I look at it, I'm saying, really, she needs help. And this is the way that now the girl should be helped. Because I was in that position whereby I felt that no one should remove me from sex. I loved it so much that no one can tell me, you should stop this. Because to me, it was good. To me, it's something that made me feel comfortable. So on her case, what she's saying, she's a broken child. You can see she's a broken girl. And how do you even know the background, where she's coming from, and what happened? Was she abused when she was young? No one knows about it. As they're investigating, they'll find out all about it. But the only thing, what matters, she needs help. Yeah. It's a wake-up call of saying, you know what, I'm not hidden. For me, I was hidden for such a long time. But to her to come out, as young as she is, she can really get help.
So, I mean, I love the fact that Jane is highlighting the fact that we shouldn't just focus on the symptom in itself, that there's always a backstory. But I think let's talk about the dangers. I mean, young people think that it's fun, we're spicing up our sex life, you know. But talk to us about the dangers. What are the legal consequences of distributing, of disseminating sexual content of that nature?
Well, so from a legal point of view, it all comes down to consent. If you post something online that is that you've made and of yourself, or that you've given somebody else permission to post, that's fine. I mean, people do that all the time. When you post something without consent, at the moment there isn't a law in South Africa that specifically criminalises that, although that is coming in the cybercrimes bill, which is currently moving through Parliament. But when people are talking about Malusi Gigaba, for example, they're saying if they find the people who leaked the video, they would probably prosecute using crime and injuria, which is a very broad-reaching law that addresses incidents of reducing somebody's dignity. And it's the same law we use for prosecuting hate speech. So Vicky Momberg, Penny Sparrow were prosecuted using the same law.
Sure. So, I mean, it's definitely not a small issue. And I think for you, Jane, I want to make a reference to your book called More and More Sex and Sexual Addiction. So, I mean, for young people, I mean, maybe let's start here. Have you ever sexted? At that age, were you sexting?
No, at that age,
you weren't sexting, eh?
No.
At that age,
no.
So for young people who are watching right now and they're saying, no, this is okay, this is normal, we can do this. Maybe you can share your story around your journey and understanding, you know, why this might not be something you want to do. So talk to us a little bit about your book and your story.
Okay. The purpose why I wrote this book, I looked around and how I've been transformed and how I've been changed. And I've always said that two people that I would love to recognize and appreciate in my life, which is my dad and which is the man of God, Prophet Philip Banda. My dad for praying for me as a father, whereby when I was 12 years, I ran away from home and thinking that I'm not loved, thinking that I was rejected. I ran away to the street of Hebrew. Sometimes I've been Soweto. Being a girl growing up in Alexander, I lived a life with no purpose, and I thought, there's no life. And I did whatever that I wanted to do to please myself. And I've been raped many times, and because of being raped, I ended up becoming addicted to sex. I ended up being in love with it. And I didn't want anyone to separate me from it, because that was my life. And I could say now, technology has advanced. By then, we didn't have that. And I could say, if you do sex texting, but this thing is, I could say it's contagious. And if I send you, how do I know or you'll keep it to yourself? It can reach 100 people only because I've sent it to you.
Yeah.
So it's not safe and it's not healthy in a sense.
And I think maybe, Adam, let me bring you in around the issue of privacy and security. I mean, we know that 16 is the age of consent, so we need to take that into consideration, that, you know, the issue of sex when you are 16 years old is something that the law allows you to own for yourself. But the issue of privacy and security is a different thing altogether. So, I mean, talk to us a little bit about that.
I do, and I think that's an issue that straddles a lot of other things as well, and particularly when we're talking about digital technology. A lot of these platforms, social media platforms, I mean, they're explicitly designed to encourage us to share and to keep sharing and to keep being engaged and to share and share again. And we often talk about the death of privacy and a generation who don't understand what privacy is. And I think that there's a lot of work we have to do to actually help young people understand that, you know, digital media is not necessarily secure. You know, that even if you're going to record a video or create something personal, if you put it on your phone, it gets uploaded to the cloud. It's vulnerable there. It's vulnerable if somebody takes your phone. But even before that, the very notion of kind of what you might want to share or what you might want to see and the channels it might get seen through is something that really needs to be taught, I think.
Yeah. So young people have to be cautious. You have to be cautious. Are you sexting? Well, clearly in studio, the consensus is that maybe it's something you should think a little bit harder not to do. And of course, we're going to be going to an ad break. We'll be back right after this. You're watching Expressions.
Welcome back. You are still watching here Expressions, your hashtag #1 youth current affairs show. Now, namhlanje kusihlo, we're talking about the phenomenon of sexting. Siyabuza-ke, are young people aware of the dangers of sexting? I'm now joined by Amanda Sibia, a social commentator. Good to have you on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amanda, sexting is a very important issue manje, and abantu abasha bathanda Facebook or Twitter. Inkulumo iqala on inbox. Next thing, abantu sebathumelana ama pictures that can be nudes and so forth. What's your take on that?
My take is that if uyazinto ezokufaka enkingeni, rather not do it. Ungasho ukuthi like there's obvious uma usofonini, it's you and your phone, obvious maybe on your private space, but just think about ukuthatha le sithombe sakho, le video yakho, uyifake out there. Maybe you don't know the person, maybe you do, but umthemba kangakanani lo muntu? That might be the question. And ungayifaki esimeni whereby usendela umuntu izinto that are not meant to be there. Like there's no reason for you ukuthi uthathe inude uyifake out there. I don't even see the need ukuthi uzushaya isithombe, mara mawunaso lesi sithombe, let it be esakho, not for the people, not for the social media. Singenzi izinto ezosifaka enkingeni. Because right now uzosenda isithombe usithole Facebook. Angeke ucontrol ukuthi abantu bazothini ngaso, angeke ucontrol ukuthi sizobuka kwabani kanjani. And isikhumbule ukuthi siyakhula. Mina mangase ngipost isithombe sami manje, 10 years to come ngiposte ku social media, izinto zalapho azipheli. Kungenzeka itraceke back to me lezo zinto lezo. Sengifuna ukuba somewhere but mina ngiyenzeni.
It's not abafuna ukuqhasha abazoloku babhekanena le ithombe bathi awusisi kuwe lo wafaka lesithombe.
As much as sine freedom yokwenza noma yini, but kumele sikhumbule ukuthi siphila kwi society whereby kuna a label ye right na wrong. Okuyinto kumele sihlezi sikhumbula leyo.
Now, Adam, a young person is making a critical point here about don't do something you're going to later regret. It's hard for us to have this conversation and not think about the concept of revenge porn. You spoke about some of the implications, but I want to know, do we really have the capacity as a justice system to deal with such matters when a person comes out and say, look, I sent this to my former lover, now she's disgruntled, what do I do?
I mean, capacity in the justice system is a huge problem, and it is something that I think a lot of people are concerned about with the cybercrimes bill, that it's all very well introducing these laws, but unless we actually build capacity within the police force to prosecute and investigate, then what's the point of having a law you can't enforce? And I do think enforcement is going to be a big issue. Yeah.
So clearly there's much more to be done on that. Mundomusha, let's just quickly check in with what you had to say on social media. Unazim says, no, they are not aware and they fall victims of the sexting to older people. Umuloi J, Uti, we actually not aware. Ucham says, one thing I know something is that it has to do with intimacy and it cannot be stopped, but can be restricted. Amanda uvumelana nalokho ukuthi this whole thing of sexting sort of takes the human element away from the interaction between young people or whoever, people who love each other. Would you say it takes away that intimacy element?
Nah.
Yeah.
For me, sex testing is not important. It's one of those things that as umusha ukula, it's one of those things you must stay away from. As much as sihlangana go social media, Facebook, senzani, can you just keep ingxoxo yethu singaze sifake izinto ezizosi eliminate ekugcineni ezosifaka enkingeni, so we can live without sex testing.
Okay.
Like,
so this is when I ask you the question, have you been sexting?
Never.
Okay. All right. At the back of that, Mbugeli, I also need to catch up with your expression for this week. This is your voice note. Please roll it.
Hi, expressions. I think it can ruin your life, your reputation, and your pictures or your text messages can end up in wrong hands, and that's not a good look on you, especially for girls. You cannot trust any guy with your pictures or your text messages.
Well, of course, our viewer also making there a critical point. I need to take this to Jane before I go to ad break. Jane, our WhatsApp note coming to speak to a critical point there of the point of regret. Are there certain things that you regret about the journey that you've taken in terms of exploring your sexuality as a whole?
Yes.
What are those, quickly?
Yes, I was young and foolish, and I thought that I knew better. But now that I realize whatever that I do, if I could turn back the clock, I would change. But yet I don't. And now I stand here and I'm saying to young ones, they should not do it. They should not do it. It's not healthy and it is not good at all.
All right, Jane has said it there herself. We're well again now. Amanda, I get Mbugeli at the back of that. I think we quickly need to take a quick commercial break. Remember to phone a friend, to tell a friend, and let them know that the hottest current affairs show is now showing. This is Expressions.
Welcome back. You're watching Expressions, South Africa's biggest current affairs show. Today we are talking about a burning issue. We're talking about sexting, and the poll question that we're asking you, Kochaya, is, are young people aware of the dangers of sexting? And we've been asking our guests whether they're sexting, and I hope right now as you're watching the show, you're not sexting yourself and you're understanding the dangers that come with this issue of sexting. But guys, we have to wrap up this conversation, and a lot of key issues came across from social media around, I guess, the comforts that young people have with sexting. But I think you spoke a lot around the fact that you had to learn. You have your own regrets. But now I want you to share some of the lessons that you've learned in your journey. What would you want to say to young girls who think sexting is hip and happening and it makes them attractive to the boys? What would you like to say to them?
I would say it is choice that determine your destiny, not chance. That's what Prophet Philip Under told me. And understanding that whatever that you do now, you'll regret it on a later stage and you'll be so embarrassed about it. And whatever that you do now as a young girl, things that we do when we are young, we don't care who says what, but in the long run, they will affect us.
So the choices that we make today will have an impact on our future tomorrow. And then Adam, let's say a young boy or girl is watching Expression and say, you know what, I hear what you guys are saying. This resonates with me, but I've already got like illicit, sexual content online. What can they do? Can you delete it? Is there a way to go back?
Yeah, look, I mean, I do feel sorry for young people to a certain extent. I mean, when I was growing up, we had privacy by default. Our version of sexting was sending love letters to each other in an envelope, which nobody else could read. if there is content online that you want taken down, if it's on social media, you can appeal to Facebook or to Twitter or to whoever to try and take that down. If it's not on social media, if it's on a different website, then it's going to be slightly trickier. If it is really explicit, if there are genuine problems around it, you can involve the police. I mean, it is worth trying. Yeah.
So I think the word of the day, the word of the night is just don't do it, right? It's just please just don't do it. I think prevention is better than cure, right? But guys, I have to thank you. I think you've given us a lot of food for thought. Thank you so much. Your book, Jane. Thank you so much. I think it's great. More and more sexual addiction, and this is your story. And there's so many great lessons in here. So thank you so much, Adam. Thank you for your insight. And go.
Wow.
Are you sexting?
Haibo, are you sexting?
No, I don't sext. I don't sext.
We don't sext.
We don't sext.
In expressions, we don't.
We're smart.
Expressions, we don't do that. Mbugeli Lapikaya, of course, we asked you a question this evening, and we asked whether are young people really aware of the dangers of sexting? Are you aware of the dangers of Lama pictures or Tumela Lapogu, Facebook and Twitter? That's the big question that we asked. And other results up. Are you aware? Yes, 90% of you are aware of the dangers, as 10% of you are not aware of it. We hope that at some point you will be aware of the dangers of sexting. Again, at the back of that, we also like to know ukuthi ngabe nina nifuna sikhulume ngani, and this is your suggestion for next week. Roll it.
Hi Expressions, I'm a journalist, my name is Yulene. I've done numerous stories on abandoned children, and I would like you guys to focus on this topic because I see it's especially prevalent amongst the youth. Look at your options. There are safe options out there if you no longer want to look after your child.
Important story there. Definitely looking forward to discussing that.
Yeah, the statistics are shocking on that one, so we're looking forward to that conversation as well. Mbugeli, sibonge ukuthi ube nathi ke namhlanje kusihlwa. From all of us here at Expressions, we'd like to wish you a spectacular evening going forward. Nisale kahle. Mangoli plays us out. Take care.
Ciao, ciao.
What is your name and number? Mina ngifuna wena ufuna abanye kanti wenza njani wena? Mina ngikhamba nawe wena ubiza abanye wena wenza njani wena?
What's on? Let's go. Oh yeah, it's Mango Nation right now, Sean. Yeah, you shall dance. Mega drum on the scoop. More fire. Let's go. I think I'm in oh yeah. Yeah, Zama got everyone this one. Awesome. This is a war.
Uyangifuna my baby, landele. Uyangifuna madali, landele. Mina ngifuna wena ufuna abanye kanti wenza njani wena? Mina ngikhamba nawe wena ubiza abanye wena wenza njani wena?
What's up, wena?
Uyangifuna my baby.
Yes, Sean, right now, Sean.